Hey, Roger Martin here in Billings, Montana. We're going to listen to Jeanine, The Rise of Socialism. You say communism, you can say Nazism, you can say whatever ism you want, but it's not a republic. It's not a people that are represented. It's not constitutional and is totally unconstitutional and unabiding by the laws. They want the state to rule, they want the federal government to rule. This is communism, socialism, liberalism to the hilt, and it is totally destructive of your rights, freedoms, and money. Venezuela is an example. Cuba is an example. Cuba used to be, in the 40s and 50s, a gold mine for activity, leisure, a great place to party and have fun, great hotels and stuff. After communism got in, Castro got in, they still have cars from the 50s because they've made no real progress socially down there. If that doesn't scare anybody, we are sleeping. This nation is sleeping. Let's listen to Jeanine Pirro. Judge Jeanine.
The rise of socialism has never been more clear. Right now in America, there are forces dug in, organized, and well-funded, doing whatever is necessary to make socialism happen. Today's demonstration...
And they're funded by people in our own country. That's what's so pathetic. Socialistic leaders from Russia swore that we would take America without firing a shot, and they are getting very close to doing it. Look at Bernie Sanders, a socialist to the hilt, and if it wasn't for a corrupt Democratic Party trying to get Hillary in, he would have been running against Trump. This is how serious and dangerous it is. She talks about, I think, Scandinavia countries, Sweden, turning away pregnant mothers, and they have to go have it midwife or in the streets. Socialism wants to control the people's money, their education, their welfare, their work, their taxation, their freedom, their ability to choose. If you think I'm off the wall, you better start looking at what's happening in our education system, because the same thing happened there. Nazis got to the young people, got to the educated people, got to the liberal people, the fanatical people, and they demanded things and they got it, and they didn't care who was in their way, whether it was Jews as a front for an excuse to what they're doing, whether it was war machinery, whether it was taking away their weapons and killing a lot of people. Russia, China, Vietnam, Cambodia, other places have done this again and again, and these are all forms of socialistic control, controlled by the government and the military to do their will, and to force the people to do what the government wants them to do. If that's what you want, say goodbye to America and the freedoms that currently exist. You'll have less freedoms of speech. You won't be able to bear arms. You won't be able to educate the people the way you want. You won't be able to work and have money. It'll be distributed. You won't be able to have land like you want. The rich and the powerful in the communistic regimes will control everybody else, including the corporations, including the education, including the media. You can already see that in China, Russia. We saw that in Nazi Germany. We see it in Venezuela. We see it in, especially in China. You are not free to say what you want or do what you want. The media is controlled. The education and the business is controlled. You can't only invest in China. So wake up. This is coming here.
Are part of an ongoing step-by-step agenda to change our country at its very core. They demand the abolition of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the zero-tolerance policy of the Trump administration. I think we need...
Yeah, we're always going to see these idiot liberals talk about demanding get rid of ICE. Here's another idiot.
Finally, a primer. For all you geniuses out there, ICE does not separate children and parents at the border. Border Patrol does that. And if you abolish ICE, who arrests the drug dealers and the coyotes coming across our border in droves, delivering 80% of the narcotics and 90% of the heroin here? And pray tell, who deports the illegal who committed rape when he finishes his jail time?
Again, ICE is doing their job. Others aren't in this government, and it is sharply divided. We're going to do a couple more excerpts from here, but you need to wake up. Need to wake up.
An executive order to end the family separations, and yet they still march. So what's going on? The overarching message is that illegals, people who do not respect our laws, are entitled to everything that we Americans are, that they're being wronged by Americans if we don't share our wealth, our capitalist success.
And let's be clear, this started long before Obama, but Obama made it worse. Sanctuary cities and states, totally illegal. Muslims coming in and doing what they want. Other illegals coming in and doing what they want. Government doing what they want. We've had problems with these issues for a long time, 70 years or longer. Roosevelt doing what he wanted and using the Great Depression as an example. And yet, no state, no individual stepped up and stopped him for his unconstitutional, dictator-like laws. And look what the Congress and Senate did. They passed law after law that he recommended without much objection. Totally dictator-like, totally socialistic-like, totally unconstitutional-like. This is not new, but we're getting closer and closer to having socialistic type and liberal type ideas rule and reign politically, socially, financially, corporation-wise. Very scary times.
Success and our way of life with them. This, my friends, is socialism. Like the Women's March, these anti-Trump protests are extremely well organized, and they are more than political. They are ideological. We are witnessing the evolution of a socialist coup.
For sure, for sure. Let's get more specific. This individual here is a total socialist, and she won because people are idiots.
We will make your system fall. This week's primary win by a 28-year-old.
Now let's go back. They had listen here, they're cussing and saying, we will make your system fall. Well, that is exactly socialism. Exactly.
We will make your system fall. Did you hear it? F your borders, F your walls. We will make your system fall. This week's primary win.
Totally socialistic. This other gal coming up is a socialistic winner. It is unfortunate, but our people are sleeping.
By a 28-year-old socialist congressional candidate who took down a well-funded long-term New York congressman is about more than one district. And although Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez deserves credit for working hard, she won with the assistance of the Democratic Socialists of America.
Democratic Socialists, totally socialistic party, totally. What fools we have been. Why didn't that come out and why wasn't she voted out? We're losing our freedoms and rights again and again and again. We're in serious, serious trouble. Bernie Sanders, socialist to the hilt, socialist to the hilt, supported by the Democratic Party. He only lost because of illegal election fraud and other abuses by Clinton. Scary.
Hard left Democratic candidates to run. You know, even Obama's cradle-to-grave fictional ad called The Life of Julia suggests an anti-capitalist socialist framework. And for those of you who need reminding, socialism doesn't work. The crushing poverty and violence in Venezuela is just the latest example. According to the Wall Street Journal, people go through garbage bags full of rubbish to take whatever they can and then try to sell the empty bags. Socialism, when private property and the distribution of income is subject to state control, hasn't worked out very well in Sweden either. National health care Far from what they promised, pregnant mothers are turned away from maternity wards because of overcrowding, causing women to give birth on the street.
It's not working, never has. Come on, Christians, come on, faithful, law-abiding people in both parties. Both parties are guilty of letting too much of this slip. It's not just the Democratic Party, it's just not socialistic parties. The Republican Party is partly to blame for this too. We are letting more and more of this in. We are fighting for our constitutional rights and for the rights and freedoms of this nation and people. If this trend continues, I would say in less than 35, 40 years, we are going to be done for as a nation if something doesn't happen. We'll be fighting like London against Muslims, against other terrorist groups. We'll be fighting like Germany for all the immigration problems and other things that are overthrowing and putting pressure on the country. We will end up with some type of form of socialistic control like communist countries in China, and it will not be for our benefit and for our freedoms. This, I testify, is coming more and more unless this nation wakes up before it is too late. They will control us from the inside out, and one day we'll wake up and find the Constitution totally gone because some socialistic dictator and Congress and Senate is willing to do whatever they have to control us and make us subservient their laws, not the constitutional laws. We're moving quicker and quicker in that direction, and there are many shots being fired over the bow. But again, too many people, too many educated people, too many people in power are sleeping. We are in tragic and difficult times because of liberal and socialistic programs, people that are not willing to abide the laws both in our government and outside of our government. Our government needs to be cleaned up and become more law-abiding, more oath-abiding, and it is not moving in that direction. Again, I testify of these things. Share this statement. I'm going to give you the Fox News link to Judge Jeanine, The Rise of Socialism. Look at this stuff. Do what is ever in your power in the churches and organizations, communities, to fight this because our very constitutional lives and freedoms are at stake, and it could easily be gone in several years, 5 to 7 years. Easily. You can see the collapse of this nation, 10, 15 years, easily. We're that close, folks. And again, I say this in the sacred name of Jesus Christ.